The ultimatum. The message arrived on a Tuesday. It appeared simultaneously on every digital screen across the planet. Phones, computers, televisions, billboards, all displaying the same stark text in perfect translation for each viewer's native language. To the leaders of Earth, the Galactic Federation of Aligned Worlds has determined your planet possesses resources critical to our continued expansion. You will surrender 20% of your global mineral production, 30% of your biological diversity samples, and establish a permanent Federation military presence on your world. You have 7 planetary rotations to comply. Resistance will result in immediate pacification. The message was signed with a complex symbol that data analysts quickly determined represented over 700 distinct stellar civilizations. Panic erupted globally. Stock markets crashed. Religious groups proclaimed the end times. Military forces worldwide went to maximum alert. Social media exploded with speculation, fear, and defiance in equal measure. In an emergency United Nations session, world leaders gathered to address the unprecedented threat. The assembly hall buzzed with tension as intelligence agencies presented their assessments. We've detected a fleet of approximately 300 vessels in orbit around Jupiter, announced General Elena Vasquez, head of Earth's newly formed United Defense Force. Each appears comparable in size to our largest aircraft carriers. Energy readings suggest weapons capabilities far beyond our most advanced systems. What are our options? Asked the Secretary General, her face grim. Compliance or annihilation would seem the only logical choices, said the representative from India, his voice steady despite the weight of his words. Their technological superiority is evident. The Chinese delegate leaned forward. Perhaps we can negotiate better terms. They didn't open with negotiations, countered the Nigerian representative. They opened with demands. That tells us everything about how they view this interaction. For 3 days, debates raged while the alien fleet remained motionless near Jupiter. Military strategists developed and discarded hundreds of defensive scenarios. None offered more than token resistance against the overwhelming force positioned at the edge of Earth's solar system. On the 4th day, Dr. Sophia Chen, head of the International Technology Cooperative, requested an emergency audience with the Security Council. "We've been approaching this problem conventionally," she said, standing before the assembled leaders. "But humanity has never won its greatest battles through conventional means." She activated a holographic display showing a complex network of interconnected systems. This is Project Chimera. For 15 years, a select group of scientists has been developing technologies based on theoretical physics principles that mainstream science considered too speculative to pursue. The room fell silent as she explained. The Federation's technology appears to rely on conventional physics. Advanced, yes, but fundamentally predictable. Our research suggests several exploitable weaknesses in their approach. "You're proposing we fight?" asked the French president incredulously. "I'm proposing we demonstrate that humanity isn't worth the cost of subjugating," Dr. Chen replied. "We can't match their fleet, but we can make Earth the most dangerous target they've ever encountered." After hours of tense discussion, a vote was called. By a narrow margin, Earth chose defiance. The response transmitted to the Federation was brief. "Earth declines your proposal. We suggest you reconsider your approach to first contact with our species." On the Federation flagship Inevitable Dominance, Supreme Commander Vexillor received Earth's response with amusement. In his 1,000 cycles commanding Federation expansion forces, he had encountered dozens of pre-interstellar civilizations. All eventually submitted or perished. They always posture before accepting reality. He remarked to his second-in-command, "Prepare the demonstration strike. Target their largest military installation, the one in the desert continent." "Is that wise, Commander?" his second asked. "Our intelligence suggests humans possess unusual adaptability." Vexillor's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, the equivalent of a dismissive snort. "They're using chemical propellants and primitive fission weapons. Their most advanced aircraft couldn't even reach our position. Nevertheless, the Behavioral Analysis Division suggests caution. The humans have overcome significant planetary challenges and show remarkably rapid technological progression. All within parameters we've seen before, Vexillar said. Begin the approach sequence. We'll have this world integrated into the Federation within a standard cycle. As the Federation fleet began its slow advance toward Earth, humanity enacted Dr. Chen's desperate plan. Military operations visibly increased, with conventional forces deploying worldwide. A show of resistance that Federation intelligence noted and dismissed as futile. But in underground facilities, abandoned mines, and remote ocean platforms, the real work proceeded with frantic urgency. What the Federation couldn't see were the thousands of scientists and engineers working on technologies that had been deemed too dangerous or unpredictable for peacetime development. Quantum entanglement communicators that couldn't be intercepted or jammed. Gravity manipulation devices that could selectively alter the fundamental forces within defined spatial parameters. Swarms of microscopic machines programmed to infiltrate and reconfigure non-terrestrial technology. They expect us to fight like animals backed into a corner, Dr. Chen told the Emergency Scientific Council. Instead, we'll fight like humans, using every trick, every loophole in physics, and every unconventional approach we can conceive. As the deadline approached, Earth appeared to be preparing for a conventional, if doomed, resistance. Military assets deployed globally, civilian populations evacuated from major cities, and political leaders delivered defiant speeches promising that humanity would never surrender. From the Federation's perspective, it was precisely what they expected, the futile posturing of a species that didn't understand its place in the galactic hierarchy. When the 7-day deadline expired, Supreme Commander Vexillar ordered a demonstration strike on a military base in Nevada. A single Federation destroyer broke formation and moved toward Earth, charging its main cannon for what would be a devastating display of power. The humans will understand soon enough, Vexillar said confidently. They always do. But as the destroyer approached Earth's upper atmosphere, something unexpected happened. The ship's engines suddenly flared and died. Its weapon systems went offline. Communications ceased. And then, to the shock of the Federation's monitoring stations, the advanced warship, which had conquered dozens of worlds, began to fall toward Earth, caught in the planet's gravity well with all systems disabled. Impossible, whispered Vexillar as he watched the feed. What just happened? The humans' response came moments later, transmitted not through conventional channels but somehow appearing directly on the Federation command ship's secure systems. We warned you to reconsider. This was one ship. You have 299 more. Should we continue the demonstration? The Reckoning. Supreme Commander Vexillar stared at the message blinking on his command console, 4 hearts beating in an irregular rhythm as anger and confusion warred within him. Scan the fallen destroyer, he ordered. How did they disable our systems? His chief technician's appendages trembled slightly. Commander, we're detecting no energy weapons signatures, no missile impacts, no conventional attack profile of any kind. The ship simply stopped functioning. That's not possible, Vexillar said, mandibles clicking with irritation. Nothing can penetrate our shields without detection. Nevertheless, the technician replied, all systems failed simultaneously. The quantum diagnostic suggests a complete reconfiguration of the ship's command pathways at the molecular level. On Earth, Dr. Chen and her team monitored the progress of Operation Chimera's first phase. Inside the captured Federation destroyer, now secured in a remote salt flat, swarms of self-replicating nanomachines were systematically analyzing and reverse-engineering the alien technology. Phase 1 successful beyond expectations, she reported to the Security Council. The nanoswarms infiltrated their systems through quantum field intersections, essentially spaces where our reality and theirs overlap at the subatomic level. Their shields are designed to block matter and energy, but not the quantum fluctuations we're exploiting. How soon until we can deploy Phase 2? Asked the Secretary General. The swarms are already transmitting data. We'll be ready within hours. Aboard the inevitable Dominance, Vexillar faced an unprecedented situation. In all his campaigns, no species had ever managed to neutralize Federation technology. His tactical options were suddenly limited. We should withdraw and reassess, suggested his second-in-command. These humans have capabilities our intelligence failed to detect. Retreat. Before a pre-interstellar species, Vexillar's chromatophores flashed danger patterns across his exoskeleton. Never. Launch the full invasion fleet. Overwhelm them with numbers. 200 Federation warships began their approach to Earth, their formation designed to maximize coverage and prevent any single point of failure from compromising the mission. Earth's conventional military forces scrambled in response. Fighter jets launched, missile systems activated, and defense platforms powered up. To Federation observers, it appeared the humans were mounting a traditional defense, exactly as expected. The deception was deliberate. As the Federation fleet entered the upper atmosphere, they encountered no resistance. Vexillar felt a momentary satisfaction. Perhaps the humans had reconsidered their futile defiance. Then, chaos erupted across his command network. Multiple ships reporting system failures, weapons offline in Sector 3. Navigation compromised across the entire Eastern Formation. One by one, Federation ships began falling from the sky, their advanced systems corrupted by the invisible swarms of nanomachines that had been refined and improved after studying the captured destroyer. On Earth's surface, the fallen ships were immediately surrounded by teams in specialized containment suits. Rather than destroying the alien vessels, humans were capturing them, adding each ship's unique technology to their rapidly expanding knowledge base. What is happening? Vexillar demanded, as reports of disabled ships continued to flood in. His chief scientist's voice was strained. Commander, they're somehow using our own communication network to spread the contagion. Every transmission between our ships carries the infection to new vessels. Cut all communications. Operate autonomously. But the order came too late. Over 70% of the invasion fleet was already compromised, their ships either grounded or floating powerless in Earth's atmosphere. In a desperate gambit, Vexillar ordered the remaining ships to target Earth's major cities. If they couldn't conquer this world, perhaps they could still punish its defiance. As the remaining Federation ships positioned themselves for bombardment, Earth unveiled the second phase of its defense. From locations worldwide, thousands of small, seemingly primitive rockets launched simultaneously. Federation analysts dismissed them as ineffectual missiles until they detected no explosive materials on board. Instead, each rocket carried a quantum field generator specifically calibrated to the frequency of Federation shield technology. When the rockets detonated, they didn't release explosions but expanding fields of altered quantum states. Within these fields, the fundamental laws of physics shifted subtly, just enough to render Federation technology inoperable, while Earth's simpler, more robust systems continued functioning. Trapped in these quantum bubbles, the remaining Federation ships found their advanced technology transformed from an advantage into a vulnerability. Systems designed to operate with perfect quantum precision failed when the underlying quantum constants changed by minute amounts. On the inevitable Dominance, now the last functioning Federation vessel, Vexillar watched in disbelief as his invasion force was systematically neutralized without a single conventional weapon being fired against them. How? He demanded of his science officer. How is this possible? They're not fighting by the rules, Commander, came the reply. They've developed weapons that target our assumptions about how reality functions. Earth's final message to the inevitable Dominance was transmitted directly to Vexillar's personal communication implant, bypassing all security protocols. Your remaining ship is being allowed to leave intact. Return to your Federation with this message. Earth is not available for conquest or integration. Any future approaches will be met with increasingly severe demonstrations of our defensive capabilities. We are willing to discuss peaceful relations as equals, but never as subjects. You have 1 hour to depart our solar system." For the first time in his distinguished career, Supreme Commander Vexillar ordered a full retreat without gaining any concession from a target world. As the inevitable dominance accelerated away from Earth, Vexillar composed his report to the Federation Council. How could he explain that humans had not defeated them with superior firepower or numbers, but by changing the rules of engagement entirely? That this supposedly primitive species had somehow developed the ability to manipulate the fundamental forces that Federation technology relied upon. On Earth, the captured Federation vessels became the foundation for a technological revolution. Within months, humans began adapting the alien technology to their own purposes, integrating it with their unique approaches to problem-solving. Dr. Chen was appointed as Earth's first ambassador to galactic affairs. Her first official act was to establish a buffer zone around the solar system, marked by quantum beacons that broadcast a simple message to any approaching vessels. "You are entering Earth-protected space. We come in peace but stand prepared for all alternatives." Diplomatic contact welcomed. Hostilities discouraged. Within the Federation Council, debate raged about how to respond to the unprecedented situation. Some advocated for assembling an overwhelming force to subjugate Earth properly. Others argued for quarantining the solar system entirely. But increasingly, a third perspective gained traction. Perhaps humans represented something the Federation had never encountered before, a species whose value lay not in their resources or territory, but in their unique perspective and problem-solving abilities. 6 months after the failed invasion, a single Federation diplomatic vessel approached Earth's buffer zone. It carried a proposal not for Earth's surrender, but for something unprecedented, an invitation to join the Federation, not as a subject world, but as a full member with special status. The Federation had finally realized what humans had been trying to tell them from the beginning. Earth was not a prize to be taken, but a partner to be earned. And throughout the galaxy, the story spread of the small blue planet that had given fair warning, and of the mighty Federation fleet that hadn't understood until it was too late.